Fiesta Days by Luis Rodriguez. The San Gabriel Mission held an annual Fiesta Days celebration to honor the Spanish-Mexican heritage of the area. There were parades, speeches, carnival rides, directed for the most part at the Anglos who commemorated a past they were never a part of, as if the Mexicans were long dead and mummified, while in the present they'd rather spit on a Mexican than give him the time of day. During the daytime, the gabachos put on phony sombreros, rode rhinestone garish horses, and applauded one hat dance after another. But at first hints of nightfall, they skulked back to their walled estates in San Marino or Pasadena, to Spanish-style mansions in the melancholy of manicured lawns. At night, the fiesta belonged to the Mexicans. The Sangra barrio surrounded the mission, but the dudes from Lomas often showed up, prepared for anything. Families also arrived by the carload. One summer during the Fiesta Days, Chicharron and I hitchhiked to the edge of the Sangra neighborhood. Instead of crossing through it, we meandered over to the railroad tracks and walked the wood ties to the mission. We slipped past some Sangra Diablos loitering at the entrance to the carnival by sprinting through the cemetery next to the mission church and scaling an old stone wall. Once inside, we strolled among mothers with carriages, lovers holding hands, and children darting past while the colored lights of the Ferris wheel, the hammer, and miniature roller coaster flickered across our faces. Then I met Viviana. She stood in line for the Ferris wheel looking like delicate earthenware glazed in honey. Endless silky hair framed her face, hair as black as those in velvet paintings people sold at swap meets. Lashes like paintbrushes encircled her eyes, which were immense and bursting with brown. I wanted to climb into them. Trucha, homes, what do you call them? Chicharron remarked after he spotted Viviana and another ruca standing next to her. Looks like heaven's missing a couple of angels, I declared, echoing a popular song by the Tavares brothers. We elbowed our way through the line of people closer to the girls. Once behind them, Chicharron turned on his charm and started a conversation. Hey, babes, what do you say? Well, it wasn't much, but the girl next to Viviana lit up and pursued it. Viviana appeared distant, subdued. I felt like leaving. I didn't deserve to breathe the same air as her. The thought of her looking at me and saying, ugh, was killing me. What's your name, Esa? Chicharron asked. I'm Eva, and this is Viviana. Viviana pushed Eva slightly with her arm when she said this. Eva smiled. As we waited in line, Chicharron and Eva talked and talked. I could hear Eva rambling. Me and this vato, we've been seeing each other, but it's no big thing, He wants to get married and all that, but I don't want no part of that pedo, I don't want to be tied down, Chicharron rapidly lost interest. I managed only slices of sentences with Viviana before our turn came to get on the Ferris wheel. So there we were, Viviana and I, stepping onto a carriage and sitting down together. I didn't know what to say. The carriage moved upward. We remained at the top for a spell, and Viviana moved close to me. My heart felt like it had been stuffed into my ears. Then the Ferris wheel spun, and Viviana placed her arm around mine and snuggled up, closing her eyes and smiling. I didn't want to breathe for fear she would let go. Híjole, I think I lost my breakfast, I finally said. She laughed. There goes lunch, I continued, and she squealed with abandon. I wasn't funny, but she made me feel like I could have said anything and she would consider it brilliantly clever. The carnival noises, the colored tents and streams of light, the faces of the people on the ground, first clear and distinctive, then distant and dull, all this surged toward us. I wanted to rotate there forever, chuckling and clutching with Viviana. I didn't want the ride to end because on the ground, I didn't think she would be so generous. But it did end. We emerged from the carriage and I felt clumsy toward her again. By then, Eva's yapping was long gone, although leaving a trail of es like a far-off echo into my head. I couldn't find Chicharron, so Viviana and I took a walk through the midway where hawkers challenged passers-by to try their luck at the coin tosses, rifle shoots, and dart throws. You want a stuffed animal, Esa? I asked. Orale, whatever, she said coolly in a way that suggested she knew exactly what she was doing. We went through several games, losing a small fortune before I hit pay dirt at the baseball toss. Viviana selected a panda bear, and I wondered if I could have bought a real one with all the money I threw away. We walked some more, not many words between us, but I sensed Viviana felt safe with me. I think she wanted to hang out. I thrust my hands into my pockets, then let them hang awkwardly, feeling like 2-ton steel beams. Soon, Viviana pushed her arms around mine, probably in empathy with my plight, and I eased. By the midnight hour, summer winds slipped softly through the carnival grounds. The odors of tacos, cotton candy, and churros saturated the air, along with tension. Lomas and Sangra soldiers began to congregate in different sections of the enclosed area. Sangra dudes, in particular, moved in large numbers from the entrance area to the other side of the cemetery. A scattering of Lomas dudes pushed through the crowd from the other end, each crew heading towards a collision on the midway. By then, papas gathered their small children and mamas yelled out for their older sons and daughters to go home. Police officers, some in uniform and others in plain clothes with walkie-talkies, walked two abreast down the aisles of booths. The terror-struck rushed to their cars. "You know where I'm from?" I asked Viviana. "Simon," Viviana said. "I knew all the time. I know all the Sangra dudes. My brothers are Diablos. You and the other Vato I've never seen before. Besides, Lomas dudes look a certain way." "What do you mean?" "Well, the dudes from Sangra look like the old days, you know. Small hats, long coats, baggy pants. But you guys from Lomas look like summer. White t-shirts, starched Levi's with royal cuffs and bandanas. I kind of like that." "I don't care about this Sangra and Lomas stuff," she continued. "Why this war? Aren't we the same? I don't care about the Donde es. Where you from? My brothers do. They're all the way gangster lean. What I care about is the kind of person you are." As we talked, in front of us appeared 5 girls with blazing red peroxide hair. They were cholas from Sangra. The hair color served as their mark. These girls were known to start many of the fights, which their homeboys inevitably had to finish. They were led by Koki and Dina. They looked agitated, talked loud, as if they could taste the coming battle, able to sniff the blood in the air. "Hey, Viviana," one of them said. "Que hubo?" The others quieted down as we walked past, looking at me hard, knowing I wasn't from the neighborhood, but not sure where I came from. "Let's get out of here," I said, while taking Viviana's hand and leading her toward the kiddie rides. Already the place swelled with activity. Even the carnival hands sensed the impending storm. They gathered their stuffed toys and closed their booths. "Where are we going?" Viviana asked. "I don't know," I said, looking around. "How about up there?" I pointed to the rooftop of the mission school building. I also felt something tug at me, the feeling I should be with my homeboys, that I should be marching with them tonight. But I wanted to be with Viviana, away from the war cries, the bloodshed, away from the adrenaline pumping up our speech and walk. "Be serious, I can't go up there." "Sure you can." I moved some trash cans and wood crates beneath a fire escape. I ascended a couple of steel rungs and then grabbed Viviana's hand, her other hand grasping the stuffed bear. Together we climbed 3 flights to the roof. Jumping over the roof's edge, I reached down and pulled her over. Long, wavy black hair fell across her face. Something warm moved inside me as I fingered the tousled strands. "Don't look down," I said. "Why not?" Viviana retorted. "I ain't scared. I've worked with my dad and brothers fixing houses. I'm used to it." I placed my arm around her waist and directed her toward the roof's edge. "Well, we've come this far. Now what are you going to do with me?" Viviana inquired. "You mean before or after I suck your blood?" Again she laughed, and me the one who can't tell a joke. "See all the people?" I said. "I like looking at them this way. You see things about people you wouldn't see if you were there with them. Like a god." "Man, you're crazy," Viviana said. "Yeah, that's true." Soon we spotted a flurry of activity at the far end of the churchyard. Several dudes had surrounded the Vato, whom I recognized as Enano from Lomas. Shava, a small brim hat and leaning on a cane, led the group. One of them swung a steel-studded belt in his hand. I knew him as Turtle Man from Sangra. "Hey, I gotta go," I told Viviana. "No, don't, Louie," she said while pressing me to her. "Don't go, stay with me." I felt a tightening of muscle and beads of sweat forming on my forehead, the way I usually got before fights. Viviana dropped the panda bear and I stroked my head and back, loosening the tightness, and moved her hands up my chest. "Don't go down there. It's not your fight. They're always going at it. Don't be a part of that tonight. I'm from Sangra. You're from Lomas. So what? Me quieres?" I saw the dudes from Sangra move closer to Enano, the girls with the red hair laughing nearby. "I can't let my homeboy duke it out without me," I said. "I can't let him down, man." I moved away from Viviana, but from the other side of the carnival I saw about 15 Lomas dudes, armed with sticks, chains, and bumper jacks, rushing to Enano's aid. Chicharron was among them, his shirt adorned with bloodstains. No doubt he'd already gotten into some guantes with Sangra. "It started!" I shouted. People ran in all directions. Screams pierced the night. Shouts of "Lomas, Rifa!" and "Sangra Controla!" bellowed as vatos clashed in senseless fury. "Don't go, Prieto," Viviana repeated as she turned my head toward her. "Stay with me." I felt torn. There I was, a vato from Lomas, staring into the eyes of a Sangra girl. This made me a traitor. But at the same time, all I could think about was her touch, her scent, those eyes. Viviana stroked my face with a fingertip. Voices heightened below. Footsteps cracked on cement. I nuzzled my face against Viviana's, her lips parted and the eyes closed. Bottles crashed. Trash cans tumbled over. Viviana breathed into my mouth, and I licked her lips slightly with my tongue. Sounds of shooting, strained shouts. She placed her hand against the back of my head as we kissed and reached deep inside my mouth as a sweet burning crawled over me. Sirens wailed in the distance. A child cried.